Uniquely Cindy here again. We are at the Old Town Cemetery, erected in 1790 in Tarboro, North Carolina. It says here are buried early settlers and veterans of Tarboro in Edgecombe County, placed by the town of Tarboro and the Tarboro Rotary Club. This is a, as it says, Old Town Cemetery. It's part of the Civil War Cemetery Trail. Here in Tarboro, you can go on the Civil War trails, bunch of beautiful homes, something that you might enjoy doing, lovely houses, and then of course the cemeteries. We're going to take a brief tour through this one. Here we have Carrie, daughter of Dr. J.W. and E.H. Jones, born in Franklin County, April of 1863, died in Tarboro in January of 1891, asleep in Jesus. Wesley, John Wesley, son of Dr. J.W. and E.H. Jones, born in 1871, died in Tarboro, 1891. Eugenia Helen Jones, daughter of William and Elizabeth Jeffries, wife of Dr. J.W. Jones, born 1837, married 1860, and died in 1898. There's the Iron Cross of the Confederacy. This is an assistant surgeon, John Jones, Confederate States Army. And I believe, if our memory serves me correct, this plot here was also dedicated to Confederacy soldiers, and I believe there's unmarked graves in here. Here we have Jacobs Carpenter, Confederate States of America, does not have a year on it. This is a beautiful cemetery. We're going to go back there to that obelisk, but we've got a beautiful obelisk there. There's some benches and all out here where you can come and sit. You see one in the background there. I love the stonework that they put around these graveyards, and here you'll see this stone arch. Let me zoom you out so you can see it better. And it says 1861 they wore the gray, 1865 Confederate States of America. Erected by the William Dorsey Pender. This is the general that we talked about a couple of days ago in the Calvary Episcopal graveyard in 1910. And you will see the Iron Cross back there. There are only 2 stones in this portion. But as I said, I believe there are unmarked graves in here also. This is Confederate States of America. I cannot read. I'm sorry, jerk you around trying to cut the flashlight on. I can't get it on right now. Let's see if we can make it out in it. We cannot make it out. I can't make out the fact that it says CSA, so. Beautiful, quiet cemetery. (1853, 1861) child. And some of these are pretty faded out. Lovely bird bath. And that looks as if that might have been a family plot. I'm going to go back there to that obelisk. Ooh, tree roots. You can see the benches, park benches. Let's see, beautiful. Almost looks like a steeple. Let's see what this, here we go. Oh, it is a steeple. The original steeple, there's a church behind me here, of 1874. The steeple was one of the 4 original steeples of the Tarboro Presbyterian Church that stood until 1909. Placed here in 2019, the steeple was dedicated to the glory of God and in memory of Peggy Rogers, Youngblood Leggett, a beloved lifelong member of the Presbyterian Church from 1932 to 2019, and ordained a commissioned lay pastor in 2005. Nice. World War I veteran Benny Brown, 1887 to 1955. Thank you for your service to all of our veterans. World War II veteran Andrew Webb, 1924-1943. Here's an American Legion placard. See if we can see what it says. I think this is too washed out. Let's see. There's another American Legion, but I can't make the stones out. (1918) something Tenney, North Carolina Infantry, 1918. (1935), also a veteran. You can see behind us, I believe this is the office buildings, and I think, don't hold me to it, but I think there's a school there too, the Presbyterian Church, and there's a church across the street. I think they own both sides of the road there. I think it's interesting the way this graveyard is sectioned off. There's, except for the soldiers' graves in the far portion in the Confederate Memorial there, I'm not sure about them being sectioned off. Joseph Wilford, 1878, passed away, born 1852 it looks like. These are just about unreadable with the moss and all on them. But it's a beautiful, as you can see, it's a beautiful yard. Another one that I think is just about too far. William, son of, can't make it out. But once again, beautiful headstones. Look at the cross. This is a Confederate veteran also. I don't know if we're going to be able to. 1836 and died in 1878. John H. Best. I like the shield inside of the oval. And I don't think... we can see these a little bit. 1878. Edna. Beautiful rose in there. 1855. I'm on a slope, so I'm not going to try to bend down and read those, or y'all will get your comedy for the day as you watch me roll down the little hill there. Mary Elizabeth Norman died 1863. Louis Bond died 1858. This is the wife of Mr. Bond. Died in 1832 and was born in 1793, it looks like. Henry Bond died in 1831. And Elizabeth Bond, I see the date of death is 1826. There's another bench, park bench. Come out here and sit. In the springtime, it's a nice place to come and just eat a sandwich or something. Martha, looks like Dancy, died in 1973, born in 1833. This is the Bond again, my beloved husband, Francis L. Bond, died August of 1890, 70 years old, asleep in Jesus. Pretty cross. Now I'm going to show you this house here, and this is a tomb, or a chapel, I should say. It's not actually a tomb, but it's called Memory Chapel, dedicated to the glory of God. It was erected in 1938. It says Maddie Shackelford, North Carolina nurse, Army Nurse Corps, World War I, 1877 to 1960. Here it says Miss Maddie, patriot and humanitarian. What I had, I lost. What I saved, I spent. But what I gave, I have. Erected by her friends. What a beautiful sentiment if we just stop and think about that. What I had, I lost. What I saved, I spent. But what I gave, I have. Brings a new interpretation to the scripture. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Beautiful wrought iron fencing around it. I have never been able, I don't think there's actually an entrance to this chapel. I know it's got a door and everything, but I've never been able to find. Well, let me look before I open my mouth and put my foot in it. Here is a gate, and it is open. Let's go in. Now, whether the chapel is open or not is different because it does have a lock on it, and they may have it locked to keep vandals out. And it is locked. And the windows are boarded up. It does have power, so I imagine it is used at some time or another. It's locked also. It's beautiful. I would love to see inside of it. Maybe another day I can get permission. This is a Saturday morning, so I'm not going to be able to see anybody at the offices to get permission to go in. It's well maintained. The friends of this woman takes good care of the area. The wrought iron fence is in wonderful condition. The chapel is in wonderful condition on the outside. Beautiful. Let's go over here and take a look. This is not a very big as far as walking, but as far as the tombs and all, it's not very big. Some more old tombstones. Let's see. This is Francis, son of Mary McGabe, born in 1867, died in 1867, just babies. Here is another one. Son of Alexander, and looks like Myra McGabe, 1872, died 1873. August 1870. Looks like they're both 1872. Another infant. And then some more older stones that are just about, the writing's just about eradicated. Now this is a memorial garden. I am the resurrection and life, and then it has the names of people, as you can see here. And more on this side. Another bench. And we have just a few more stones we're going to visit. And I see a crate grave. More older. Some of them, it's not that they're that old. I mean, these are older. They're the 1800s, but the trees pointing up toward heaven. And I can't make out the date. 1856, I believe it is. But these trees, they bring this lichen and moss on it that you see, and they have to be cleaned off ever so often or it eats at the stonework. All of these are the 1800s, and then these are children's graves here. Confederate States, George Williams, 1838, passed away in 1898. John Williams, son of Benjamin and Nancy Williams, must be a child, there's no dates. Henry Williams, another child, no dates. And once again, this has got a lot of the moss and lichen on it. Here's a chest grave. As I've mentioned before, in these chest graves, the body is usually buried underground, and then they build this chest on top of it, sort of like a tent grave, where it's put there to preserve and protect the ground underneath. Now this says, if I can read it, wife of Mr. Henry, looks like Johnson, and daughter of another family, July 18, feels like 1827. That one's got some age to it. Johnston's, 1839, 1897. Here we have Thomas Burroughs, died 1877. Louisa Taylor, his wife, died 1883. William Thomas, died in Lynchburg, Virginia, May 1930, buried in Baltimore, Maryland. John Alonzo, born 1870, died 1871. Charles Franklin, born 1871, died 1960. Sarah Elizabeth, born 1872, died 1873. James Henry, born 1874, died 1874. And Walter Eugene, born 1876 and died 1877. That's a family there with their children. And here we're coming up to the side of the church that shadows this graveyard, this Presbyterian church. And here's another little stone, but there is nothing on it. There's just a few more graves here. We're going to go over here and see them real fast. Here we have Jacob Weber. He was born in 1832 and he passed in 1880. He's a young man. Missouri, what a pretty name. Missouri M., child of J. and M. Weber, born in 1875. 3 months later, passed away in 1875. And this is probably, although I cannot make it out, I'm guessing it's Mrs. Weber's headstone. Demuth, 1854. to 1889. And then Filipina, it looks like, 1859 to 1895. Pretty dogwood flowers on that. Look at the chain. Beautiful. This says, sacred to the memory of Joel Brown, born at Petersburg, Virginia, November of 1833, died at Tarboro, North Carolina in 1904. And this is a baby's grave. And then here we have sacred to the memory of Sue Brown, wife of J.H. Brown, born 1854 and died 1880. Look at the leaves on that. Beautiful. Go back to the baby's grave here a minute. This looks like my two babies, so there are two children buried here. How sad. I can't make out what the stonework was there. My two babies. Well, we are at the Presbyterian Church Cemetery here in Tarboro. Like I said, it is a big piece of land, but there's not a lot of marked graves out here. You do have the Civil War Memorial section. You have a lot of veterans here. I didn't see any newer graves except for the nurse that we saw over in the chapel building. So I do not know if they still allow burials here. Probably, I'm guessing not, since most of them end in the late 1800s or the mid 1900s. But it is beautiful. It's a nice area to come out here and walk and look. So take a unique trip and come see this cemetery, and you can jump across the street and go to the Calvary Episcopal one that we saw earlier in the week. So like and subscribe below. Click that notification bell. Help me grow this channel and share with a friend. Doesn't cost you anything but about 1 minute. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Leave a comment below and have a unique day.